It's time for another episode of MoState Update, the official podcast of Missouri State Athletics. Here are your hosts, Corey Riggs, and the voice of the Bears, Art Haynes.
Hello again, and welcome to MoState Update. I'm Art Haynes, along with Corey Riggs. We'll be taking you through some Missouri State spring sports and happenings around the Bear family. First of all, unfortunately, we have to open with the tragic news of the loss of football safety Todrick McGee last week, 21 years old, Corey.
Yeah, it is something that unfortunately we see high school teams, college teams, and communities deal with all across the country at any given time, but it is completely different when it affects someone that you know, someone that you have watched play and cheered for and interviewed, and Todrick, as everybody that has spoken on his behalf for the better part of this week talks about, he loved the game of football. He loved his teammates and his family. He had a bright smile, a great attitude, and was a young man that honestly, Art, it was at the end of a really long road. He had a really bad injury during last football season, missed 3/4 of the season, blew out his knee, was building back up strength. The athletic training staff here at Missouri State worked with him tirelessly, and then you have the spring game. He's out there flying around, ready to go. He's going to get one more season to show what he can do, and then all of that goes away, and it's just heartbreaking.
All Missouri Valley Conference in 2023, and then, as we say, the injury-shortened 24 season. But great young man from Wichita Northwest came to Missouri State and left an indelible imprint on the family. And it's been a hard week at Missouri State.
It really has. The baseball team, things continue to move on even when something like this happens. I thought it was a very class act by Joey Hawkins and the baseball team in their home game against Mizzou this week. The grounds crew painted Todrick's number 4 on the field in remembrance of him. They flew the flags at half-mast at Hammons Field. There was a moment of silence in Todrick's memory before the game, and then his family went out to the mound with Ryan Beard for a not really a ceremonial, but more of an honorary first pitch that Ryan threw for the family. And then there was a night ago, a beautiful balloon liftoff over at Plaster Field that was really organic. Wasn't put on by the university. It was fellow student athletes, his teammates, volleyball players, and just a really beautiful thing to see them all come together. And if you're watching this and you're a part of the Missouri State family and community, know that there are services available, grief and support services. Patrick Ransdell, the Missouri State Athletic Director, wanted to make sure that everybody knew those resources are here if you need them, if you know someone who needs them.
Well, on a brighter note, the baseball Bears Tuesday night enjoyed an 11-0 victory over Missouri. That's their second biggest margin of victory in the series with the Tigers ever. It went 7 innings, ended on a home run by Max Knight, so that's quite a Hollywood ending.
It was. Max Knight turned out the lights at Hammons Field, quite literally, because of the new LED lights there. Caden Bogenpole had a 3-hit night, had a single, a double, a home run. But really, Art, I thought the story of the night was how good on Tom Ladd uses the term Johnny Hole staff, where you know you're going to pitch basically a different guy every inning. The Bears basically a bullpen night, and every one of those bullpen arms maybe threw the best inning of the last month or even this season. Guys like Jake Syverson and Garrett Ferguson and Brody McNeil all looked really good coming out of the pen for Missouri State last night.
Yeah, Knight pitched 2 innings, the second and third, and then Syverson and Ferguson both outstanding. And I mean, it was a shutout over 7 innings. So that you're right, that was the story of the night.
Yeah, it was. It's the first shutout of the season for the Missouri State pitching staff. The last time the Bears had a shutout was mid-May, a season ago, right before the conference tournament out in Nashville. And that was Jason Schaaf, who's one of the weekend starters this season for the Bears. He was in a starting role then, and the Bears also happened to run rule Belmont in that game. And the Bears got a 7-0 or a 7-inning shutout victory from Jason Schaaf, and that was the last time until until Tuesday night when the Bears did it to the Tigers. And after all the spark and the animosity that was on the field there at the end of the game in Columbia, this was a completely different ball game.
It was. No chipping or anything, no chirping. It was just a dominating win by the Bears. They lost 2 out of 3 at Illinois-Chicago last weekend, but came back with that win over Mizzou. This weekend they'll host Evansville in a 3-game conference series. Bears still in first place by 1 game over Southern Illinois and Murray State.
Yep, and that makes these games against the Purple Aces just that much more important. There's not a lot of wiggle room right now with 2 teams breathing down the Bears' neck.
Softball Bears 6-0 winners Tuesday night over Tulsa, as they had a really good performance, of course, and they got a 3-game series to conclude the regular home season against Belmont coming up this weekend.
Yep, 15-30 now on the season with that 6-0 win over Tulsa on Tuesday night.
But after a 1-19 start, they've gone 14-11.
Yeah, it's been a very different second half of the season, and we'll have head coach Casey Griffith on the show. She'll talk all about the turnaround and honestly the resiliency of this team to stick together the way they have after that rough non-conference start. But Chloe Merced had the big hit of the night. She had a grand slam, made it 5-0. Softball Bears would tack on one more before they would get the shutout win. So Tuesday night was a good night. Whether you were at Metter or Hammons Field, it was shutout baseball and softball for Missouri State.
It was. So the softball senior day festivities will take place Saturday, April 26th as part of that Belmont weekend.
Yep, and that's, I think, 4 seniors that they've got to recognize, and that's always a special, fun time. They'll recognize them all in that one game, and wish them the best of luck in that this weekend.
Missouri State beach volleyball 17-8 on the season. They wrapped up the regular season with a bang in Fort Worth last Saturday after losing to Louisiana Monroe, or as Coach Jess Branch would say, Monroe.
Yes, sir.
The Bears finished on a high note with a 3-1 victory over Houston Christian. Mackenzie Steele and Amanda Cleary broke the program record in wins by a pair in the latter match, their 36th win together.
Yeah, that's a big deal, so we wanted to congratulate them and wish them luck. As Art, I think a lot of people forget this, that, the Bears, as of July 1, make the move to Conference USA, but not the Beach Bears, because they have already been members of Conference USA, so they're getting ready to head down to Louisiana this week for their postseason tournament. That's down in Youngsville, Louisiana, for their possibility of an automatic qualifier to the NCAA tournament.
Women's basketball announced another signee, transfer Faith Lee, 1 year of eligibility remaining. She's a 5'11" forward coming from Arkansas Little Rock, where she torched the Bears in 3 meetings.
Yeah, she averaged about 13 points and 3 rebounds a game down there, but against Missouri State, she was even better. She's a native of Monroe, Louisiana, as we were just joking about. 3-time Ohio Valley Conference Freshman of the Week and the OVC Player of the Week one time in the 24-25 season. So that makes the second transfer that Beth Cunningham has gone out and got. We saw the young guard from Kansas sign her letter to come over to Missouri State about a week ago.
Faith Lee was a product of Ouachita Parish High School, where she was all parish all 4 years of her high school career. That would be in Louisiana, where they have parishes, not counties.
Not counties, yep.
And she was all northwest or northeast Louisiana and all district in her high school career. So Faith Lee coming in to help things out for her senior year.
Well, but you've got some holes there that Coach Cunningham and the Lady Bear staff know they have to fill. None bigger, of course, than the fact that Lacey Stokes is out of eligibility. So that will there will be a lot of productivity there, and probably going to take more than one player to fill that scoring and assists and rebounds and just the leadership that Lacey provided. So you're bringing in a veteran transfer here in Faith Lee.
When MoState Update continues, we'll visit with softball coach Casey Griffiths and later with baseball pitcher Jackson Holmes. So you'll want to stay with us for all of that on MoState Update. Welcome back to MoState Update. Well, our first guest is softball coach Casey Griffith in her first year heading the program. Casey, welcome.
Thanks, guys, for having me back. I appreciate it.
You bet. I know You had a really tough non-conference schedule.
Yes.
But since you got past that, you've performed pretty well. 5th place in the conference right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We definitely had a tough stretch there at the beginning. Challenged ourselves with some very good competition, and we knew getting through that we were going to be tougher and we were going to be better for it. Sometimes when you're in the midst of that, it's difficult, right? It doesn't feel good all the time. But I thought our players really had a good mindset throughout it, and we just every day we had some sort of small focus that we wanted to improve, and then you hope after that time, you survive it, that everybody still is in somewhat of a decent headspace, and I really thought our players were. When you come out of that, then you have the ability to put that all together, and I do think we've done that. So it's kind of been a tale of 2 seasons a little bit, but I like where we're at right now. For us, it's the conference tournament is our big focus, and so it doesn't matter what happened those first 20 games or the next 20 games. It's how we're finishing up down the stretch and being ready to go here for that conference tournament.
So you've had some other obstacles to overcome this year, not using your regular home field,
right,
which is under renovation. So
right,
you've moved out to Metter Park.
Right.
Had a lot of weather that has disrupted the schedule in April, which a lot of sports have done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's been plenty of obstacles. That's been a good way of putting it. But, again, our players have really had a good mindset about everything. I think what helps is our coaching staff. We really enjoy each other. Our players really enjoy each other. And then our coaches and players, we enjoy each other. And so that makes everything easier. When you have obstacles, when you have adversity, if you don't have that piece, it's so easy to fall apart and to go your own separate ways. But through all the obstacles, travel difficulties, weather, changing weekends left and right, it seems like, we've enjoyed our time together, and regardless if we win or lose, which obviously we want to win every ball game we possibly can, we're having fun together, we're enjoying each other, and we're taking advantage of the time that we have together.
Obviously, you're in the stretch run here now. How is the health of the team as far as getting into the end of this season and making sure that you've got everybody available if you can for the postseason tournament?
Right. Yeah, we've had a few injuries, a couple season-ending injuries that will require or have required surgeries. So we lost Kayla Orick and lost Ella Wright as well. Both of those two were at the beginning of the year getting a lot of playing time and having a good impact on our team. So we lost those two. We've had a few sicknesses come up this past month, which has shifted things again. You think you get things set, and then you have to shift. But again, I think our team, at the beginning of the year, we had a number of players fighting for those starting roles, and so we had a lot of movement. And I think that's allowed us to overcome losing a few players that although we're very sad that they're not on the field with us, we had those backups ready. We had people that they're like, all right, next person up, and they were really ready, mentally ready to go as well as physically. But mentally, a lot of times the harder part when you don't think you're going to play, and then all of a sudden you get the opportunity, you can't just flip that switch. And they mentally were ready to go whenever their name was called. So we're making it through. We still have, even last night's game, we had a couple kids hit by pitches pretty in tough spots on the foot, and so waiting to hear how they're doing. Still think they should be all right for this upcoming weekend, but you just never know. But I think coming down the stretch here, I think our players are in good shape and feeling pretty good.
That next player up mentality is so important. But I was talking to somebody, I was recording the baseball coaches show earlier today and talking to Carter Bergman, the Bears catcher.
Right.
And I think people maybe forget when you look at D1 athletes, and whether it's a softball team or a baseball team, these kids for the most part have never set the bench in their entire life. And then they come to college and they are told to take on a secondary role. That is a hard adjustment a lot of times for an 18-year-old, 19-year-old.
Yeah, it really is. And especially our freshmen, that's something that we talk to them a lot about when they come in, even before they get here in the fall. We talk through the summer about that piece because that is a very tough mental challenge for most. And then, even your freshman year when you come in and you probably have some idea that could be a possibility, just because you're getting the best of the best, right? Or you hope you're getting the best of the best on your team. And so it's having that adjustment your freshman year, but then it's okay. Now I was able to accept my role a little bit my freshman year, but now my sophomore year, I'm hungry obviously to get back out there again. Sure. And so what's that look like sophomore, junior, or even senior year? We've had some upperclassmen that haven't gotten a lot of time, and now they're ready for that role when they get to that junior, senior year. So definitely a tough thing. But again, we try to prepare our players, talk through a lot of that mental side so that they are able to handle that. And we keep them in a good headspace where they're ready to go whenever their name is called.
Last night, a 6-0 win over Tulsa.
Yep.
Mackenzie Vaughn has been a great two-way player.
Right.
She won 8 games in the circle and hit 11 homers with 37 RBIs. I know she's coming up on the school career home run lead.
Yeah, she's doing a great job for us. She's just strong, athletic kid, a power pitcher, power hitter. She had a significant arm injury from this past year where she didn't get to play a single pitch of our last season. And so, I think she's always had the physical tools, but going through that injury, I think she gained mental toughness, and I think that reignited that fire, that true passion to play. I think you add both of those things in with her natural physical tools and just how hard she works, and you're seeing a lot of really good things from her because of all that. So very happy for her that she's been able to come back from that injury and that she's having a lot of success right now.
So you're in 5th place in the conference. I know the top 4 get a first-round bye in the tournament, and you're real close to 4th place. You got the 2nd place team, Belmont, coming in this weekend, and just one series after that. So some important games.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, last weekend's series with Illinois State, that flipped us. We were in 4th, they were in 5th. We're kind of neck and neck with them right now. We had a good series with them, battled hard, only got 1. But like where we're at, I like our chances against Belmont. They obviously are a very good team. In 2nd place, have a very good pitcher, one of the best in the nation, in fact. We've had some success against her. Especially last year, we had some success against her. So I'm looking forward to that challenge. I know our players, we were on the road for almost an entire month because of some weather issues caused us to play at Northern Iowa instead of at home.
You played home games on the road.
Yes.
That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often. But we're finally home. We got our first home game again last night, and our kids, I think they were just so relieved to be home, and we're just so excited to. Again, it's not our home field, but it's our home field for this year, which we are embracing. And they were thrilled to be home and just to have a beautiful day last night. And so I think that's going to help us this weekend too. Just being at home, having some normalcy, getting to have more of our fans, more of our families around. It's senior weekend, so we'll have a lot of people here. I think you get all that going in the right direction for us, and our team is going to be ready to play this weekend.
There's always something special about senior day where not just the kids that get recognized before the game, but their teammates always want to see to find maybe a little extra gear on that day.
Right. Yep, exactly. And the 4 that we have, we've already talked about Mackenzie Vaughn, Chloe Merced, who's here, from Springfield, so that's a special one. Kinsey Derryberry, who's been a mainstay at shortstop for us over the last 3 years, and then Mackenzie Chacon, which is another great arm on the mound. Just 4 kids that have had a big impact on our program. They've been very loyal. They've all been here for 4 years, and just great people on top of being a really good ball players. We're really excited for their senior day. And just like you said, I they're very beloved by the rest of their teammates. And so, I know that the whole team will be ready to show up for them come Saturday.
Chloe Merced, of course, the great-granddaughter of the great Major League player and manager Bill Verdon.
Yeah.
So back to the facilities, do you have use at all of the locker room and offices at Killian?
No, I have not been to Killian since I don't think I've been there yet this year, in fact.
Probably better that way.
Yeah, I've seen a few pictures. It looks like they're making a lot of great progress out there. But I just know that for this season, it has no impact on me. It has no impact on our team. And quite honestly, with especially being my first year as head coach, I'm not sure I have the mental capacity to worry about anything having to do with deal with the field right now, So I knew that was not of my concern for the few months of this season. And so I've just kind of put that out of my mind. It was such a big thing throughout the fall. It just a constant that was always there in my mind. So I was like, you know what, we're going to push that away and focus on what's important right now, which is our team and Metter, using Drury's facility, which has been, again, they've been so gracious to lend us, and share with us. So I haven't been out there. I've seen pictures. Like I said, it looks like they're making great progress. I cannot wait to see it when the time comes, but it just hasn't come quite yet.
So where is the team using a locker room now? So Casey Hunt, our admin here within the athletic department, she was gracious enough to get us they're kind of like drop boxes, they're called. So we actually have 2 of those in the outfield, beyond the outfield. And so we have one that's been a makeshift locker room for our team. There's another one that visiting teams can use. Most have not. So we kind of use as our coach's office. And then we have a training room that was dropped as well. So not perfect, but much better than not having anything. And I know that was important for our players to have a space that they can come that hour before we start warming up to just enjoy each other. Obviously play music. We have food going. They have fun.
Didn't want it to feel like travel ball.
Right, exactly, yes, 100%. And so that was something that our players had kind of stressed to our administration when they found out that this change was going to have to happen. And like I said, Casey Hunt's been great. She really listened and took in what our players wanted and needed and worked really hard to make it happen. So it's been great. It's honestly, no complaints.
So more than the normal first-year coaches' challenges for you, but you all have hung in there very well.
Yeah.
Casey, thanks for being with us, and good luck the rest of the season.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
That's softball coach Casey Griffiths, and we'll be back with MoState Update right after this. Back with you on MoState Update, and our next guest is Bears senior pitcher Jackson Holmes from Columbia, Illinois. Not Columbia, Missouri. The Bears had a pretty nice win, Jackson, last night over that team.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That was a great win. Great showing from the staff. Great showing from the crowd. Offense was electric as always, and getting the job done in 7 innings is always a great feeling.
So you were a Friday night starter at St. Louis U and had good success. Come here for your last year. What motivated you to make the move?
I just wanted to go play in a better conference, I would say, play some better competition. And whenever I hit the portal and I knew that Missouri State reached out to me, I knew about the history and I did my research on it. I knew Jake McCutcheon going into it. I talked to him about it a little bit, and he was like, yeah, you definitely should come here. We'll have a great time. We're going to win a lot of games, and we're going to be a lot better this year than we were last year. And it was kind of a selling point for me, and I really wanted to execute my opportunity, and I think I've done that so far.
A little nicer facility here, too.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that one.
Yeah, I love the first time. There were still people laughing at me the first time I went to a SLU game because I'd never been before. I had no idea there was no press box.
Yeah, it's the mobile press box with the 4 not working wheels.
Card table and
sitting at a table, and Jake Gossage used to be in sports information here, was working at SLU, and he had to physically run an Ethernet cord out to me behind home plate.
Last year, 2 years ago, when I was there with the team, they basically sat a Little League team around me. And so I was surrounded by like 11 U baseball players who were there to do nothing but to chirp at our guys. So that was a lot of fun. And I obviously didn't intimidate them at all because they just kept going the whole time. And And we didn't play real well that game, but that's neither here nor there. But so what's the transition been like then from St. Louis University to Missouri State, both on the field and in the classroom for you? How have you handled it?
I mean, on the field, I would say this is definitely more of a baseball school. SLU being primarily basketball, you get a lot of focus on that and not a lot of focus on baseball. But here I feel like there's a lot of focus on the sports in general and especially baseball. So making that adjustment with all the fans, all the facilities here is really nice. It's been a really easy adjustment. In the classroom, a lot more online options, so it makes my class time a lot easier. I mean, I was telling everyone, like, I only took one online class at SLU my 3 years there, and I've taken 7 online here, and It's made my schedule and a lot of travel a lot easier.
So you made a big move within the season, going from being a weekend starter to the closer out of the bullpen. That maybe was a season changer for the team. Was that a tough sell for you to make that choice?
We had a conversation about it after SIUE. It was definitely a tough one we had, but they know that I want what's best for the team, and they want what's best for the team, and we talked about it. I tried to convince my way to maybe open up that pitch count to like 140. So they said, no, we need you to throw the end of the game, and I was like, all right, that's fine. I'm ready to make that adjustment. Just can we have some conversation about it, be open books about it? And they were like, absolutely. And ever since then, it's been a great move, I think.
What's the relationship like between you and Deck McGuire? Obviously, you're new to the team. Deck's new to the team. What does he like to work with?
Oh, he just likes to be around the team a lot. He's a lot of fun to be around. For being his first recruit, I guess you would say, I would say, like, we've had that kind of icebreaker connection, and ever since then, he talked to me in the portal on a Zoom meeting at first, and then once he got here later in the summer, we started talking that way, and we figured out we had a lot of connections personally, and we were like, all right, like, this is actually kind of sick. And then as the season has gone on, we've gotten a lot stronger, a lot closer together, and it's been wonderful.
So what's the mental change going from the starting role to the bullpen?
I've been told that the mental change is you just got to get the batter out rather than getting the batter out in an efficient pitch count. But I still have that starter mentality of I like to get the guy out of the box in less than 3 pitches or 3 pitches exactly. But, yeah, it's a little bit of a tougher adjustment in the sense I don't have to worry about a pitch count as much anymore. But it's also helped me realize that I can, like, attack hitters more often and with a lot more conviction too.
I know you got the Mizzou game off, but because it was so one-sided, I mean, were you ready to go in if you needed it in a closer game?
Yeah, if Max Knight decided to not hit a walk-off home run, I was in for the 8th inning, so I was getting ready to go, and then sure enough, we decided to go double or triple by Tag Goller, and then Max goes backside to walk it off, and yeah, I mean, my 10 pitches in the bullpen was good enough to secure a win, I think.
So 4 series left in the season, and the Bears still in first place, and obviously the goal is to stay there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, got a nice weekend series coming up against Evansville. We need to take care of business there. And then Tuesday at Arkansas, we've got one last ride against them for me, so hopefully I can stay undefeated against them.
That's a good way to look at that. I know there was definitely somebody in the stands during the Mizzou game last night with a sign showcasing that Missouri State had more wins in the SEC than the Tigers did, which was entertaining. What did you think of, before we leave that game? I wanted to ask you, what did you and the players think about the crowd last night? I mean, there was 3,500 plus people there. That was one of the more electric atmospheres that's been at Hammons Field probably in the last couple of years.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That was an electric crowd. They were all into it from the start to the finish. I mean, I was kind of thinking with the way the score was looking, everyone would start to leave at the end of the game, but it just felt like the crowd got louder and louder as the game went on. The lights started to shine, and then everyone got into it more, and it definitely brought an electricity that we were looking for this whole season, and hopefully they could stay that way.
Well, it was a short game and a beautiful night, and I think the fans were really enjoying it. We were.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I was enjoying it too. I wasn't even playing.
Jackson, what have you been working on? You know, you had a good run at SLU. You come here, you've got a new pitching coach in Deck McGuire, and obviously, as Art asked you, your role has kind of changed. You go from a starting guy that was having a lot of success, top 5 in wins, top 5 in strikeouts, a really good strikeout to walk ratio. So now you kind of become the high leverage back end guy. You can be a long relief guy, but what are you working on a daily basis? Is it one certain pitch or kind of changing the mental aspect of how you attack the game? What are you working on right now?
I mean, definitely just working on getting more strikeouts, of course. I mean, it's definitely taken a huge step forward ever since last year, but that's one thing. And also just being able to bounce back and be ready as many times as possible. I think that's something we've been trying to work on too, and we've had a lot of success with that. I mean, I think there's only been one instance where I haven't been quote-unquote down for the day, and it was K-State after the Carbondale series.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that seemed like they were down for the day when we got to Manhattan, I'm afraid. I was one of them. Meanwhile, you get ready now for Evansville. Just a couple more series left. What sort of postseason experience did you have while you were at SLU?
I mean, no regional appearances for me. That one kind of stung a little bit. Freshman year, it was not a lot of A10 tourney experience either. But my sophomore year, we made it to the A10 championship, and we, of course, blew both the championship games to George Mason. So that was as close as I've been to a regional appearance. So.
And while you were there, now, would you and Scott Youngbrand have crossed over?
We did cross over. Yeah, I had crossed over with him my freshman year.
Yep, and he made an appearance this past weekend when the Bears were in Chicago, and he showed up, looked like Art. He was ready to coach. I mean, I'm not saying he had baseball pants on, but he had on the Missouri State maroon baseball hoodie, and he was down in the dugout for a while. Did he find you?
Oh, absolutely. After the game, yeah, he came up to me. We talked a little bit, and then he said, all right, man, I got to get out of here. And I was like, all right, it was nice seeing you, dude, after 3 years of not seeing him.
He probably had a round of golf. It sounds like it's a lot of work and a lot of golf for Mr. Youngbrand right now.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
So, Jackson, how's the Valley competition compared to the A10?
From the travel standpoint, it's been significantly better. Everyone talks about how they want to fly to all these places for conference weekends, and I tell them it's a nightmare at times. The bus travels definitely can get long at some points, but it's way easier, way better than I think going to the East Coast. But playing against these teams, and a lot of these teams have a lot of history, a lot of good history in the Valley for baseball. So being able to go to like parks and seeing all the conference championships, all the tourney appearances that they have, it's definitely, I think, is a step forward in the competition.
Well, Jackson, we appreciate having you on with us. Keep up the good work.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Jackson Holmes, and we'll be back with the final word right after this. Well, just a few weeks left in the spring sports season. Baseball is home this weekend. 3-game series against Evansville. Friday night at 6:30, Saturday at 2, Sunday at 1. Bears in first place, trying to stay there.
Yep, and hopefully get some of the same crowd out. I know Evansville maybe not as sexy as coming out to see us play a team from the SEC, but these are big, important games. And you know, Art, I think the attendance at the games, I'm really starting to notice a difference now that for the first time in the program's history of being at Hammons Field, those tickets are free for students. Seeing a lot more students out watching Bears baseball now, as opposed to when they used to have to buy a $5 ticket. So hopefully that'll come along this weekend, but probably not going to have the same weather as we did last night. It was pretty perfect yesterday.
It was. I think it's going to be all right on Saturday and Sunday. Chance of rain on Friday, but we'll see. And Bears, of course, have Arkansas at home next Tuesday, so a big homestand. Mm-hmm. Softball is home this senior weekend against Belmont with games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, just like baseball.
Yep, they will go, though, 5 o'clock Friday, 2 o'clock Saturday, and noon on Sunday. And, of course, if you want to get out there Saturday for Senior Day to recognize the Missouri State seniors that are wrapping up their time as softball Bears, that'll make it very special for them as well.
And best of luck to beach volleyball as they compete in the CUSA tournament in Louisiana, Youngsville, Louisiana, for that event.
Yeah, you know, I think I'm as guilty as anybody on forgetting that they're already in the league that the rest of the school is going to. So a chance for Missouri State to have a CUSA trophy before the rest of the athletic department is in Conference USA. So best of luck to them. And, of course, that automatic qualifier on the line to the NCAA tournament. So we wish them the best.
And it would be great for baseball to go out of the Valley with a championship, so that's what they're shooting for.
Absolutely. There is something special about the thought of saying, we're going to take the trophy and we're going to leave. So, something about walking off with the title belt would be really nice.
For any more information on Missouri State sports, go to MissouriState.com, and it'll all be there for you. And that's it for this week's MoState Update. Our thanks to Jackson Holmes from baseball and Casey Griffith from softball for being our guests, and to you for joining us. I'm Art Haynes. He's Corey Riggs. We'll talk to you next time.
You've been listening to the MoState Update with Art Haynes and Corey Riggs. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Missouri State Sports Network.